Hello and welcome back to the finals of MLQ Championship 2022. Austin taking game one. It was a wild game. Probably one of the crazier games of Quidditch I've seen in quite some time, where it was so one-sided to Austin until everybody lost their minds in the snitch and pitch game, and Boston clawed all the way back before Josh Andrews finally delivered the win. We're about to get started here in game two. Chris Lecomte now on the call. Brooms up. It's going to be, I believe, Taylor Crawford running against Augustine Monroe. Monroe gets it for the second straight game. This time there's going to be space cleared for him. Finn McGargan can't stay in front of him. Monroe goes all the way around the hoops. Can't get it to go. Loose ball. McGargan still chasing, but can't get there. It's going to be Casey Beavers comes up with it. Goes over to McBride. McBride gets to Taylor Crawford. It's overcommitted to by Taylor Crawford. But it's Ian Skura stopping the pass, and that's kind of in this series. I don't get to stop talking for about 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah, good defense from Ian Skura, but explosive start from the Austin Outlaws. Big question here is how long can their legs last here in game number 8 of the weekend?
And big news for Aaron McCready and Steve Belitsky, bludger control, something they've barely had in any of the 6 games they've played this weekend. Boston really struggled to have much of it in game one. Now, what can Boston do with it? Their first attempt at it's going to be a 1.5. Aaron McCready giving Jack Wang some trouble, which opens up a shot for Taylor Crawford. It gets blocked, but it's going to go over the line. And I think, unless that was last touch by keeper, yep, Taylor Crawford's going to be able to go get that ball. Big opportunity.
Yeah, friendly roll for Boston. Crawford going to get another chance to drive on Johnson. McGargan is out of the play. Skura is still on Broom along with Manhart. Let's see how quickly they can get back into the play.
Yeah, I expected Taylor Crawford to just rip one. And Beavers able to get a hand on it, but smart play by Manhart to read that and come up with a loose ball. So Boston's going to get another chance at this possession and doesn't have to use their reset in the process. Still bludger control here. Skura gets into the lane, gets it back to Crawford. Crawford shoots it. Did get beat before, not sure if it went through the hoop, but McGargan does pick it up. Augustine Monroe is being patient. I think Boston's going to need to reset this play again as 2 of their qualified players have been beat out. Real smart by McGargan here. Composed. Doesn't force it. Lets his team get back into it. It is no bludgers now, though, here. Oh, but now Kaiser Polson has one. It might have been a second too much hesitation from Ian Skura. But Steve Belitsky is all over the field again. That is going to let Ian Skura hit the lane. Floats one back to McGargan. McGargan hit the lane himself. Goes around. Now it's Taylor Crawford. Finally, Boston has broken down the hoops zone and gets on the board.
And it's Taylor Crawford finishing, but a huge window created by Steve Belitsky flying up the pitch. And I also want to credit the ball handling of Rachel Manhart and Finn McGargan to keep the play alive. Boston coming in waves here on offense.
And, you mentioned tired legs. Finn McGargan took a very long break on the back half of game one. He's probably got some of the freshest legs on the pitch right now. It showed on that possession, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
JJ now has the ball up top. Huge game, I believe 8 goals, 2 assists in game one. Has been all but unstoppable all weekend long. McCready's going to press here. And Steve Belitsky's going to join her. Doesn't see the pass coming to Galatelli, though. And finally, the reset is going to be used. So one reset used. Oh, is Casey Irwin going to get control back there? She does. Steve Belitsky gets a little over-aggressive and gets caught out of position.
Yeah, I like Boston trying to make the play. But Belitsky has to know that bludger control is so important to Boston in this game, too. They really struggled without bludger control to get anything going.
And struggled to get it back. So now they're being pushed deeper into the zone. Aaron McCready just makes an aggressive push. I think the strategy is get Josh Johnson out of plays. And the defense does step up in the no bludger situation. Knocks down Augustine Monroe. And Finn McGargan, oh, the effort play almost keeps it in bounds.
Yeah, love the hustle. He knew since he deflected the shot, if the ball rolled out of bounds, it would be turned over to the Outlaws. That's what we're going to see now. Erin McBride will inbound. She has Monroe near the hoops along with Galtelli. Johnson just tagged up. He's going to run to get back into the play, and Austin is going to have another chance to score here on offense.
And, McCready's aggressive move somehow managed to get bludger control back to Boston. It happened in the edge of the screen, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. But I like Boston just trying something new. The plan was, hey, anybody but Josh Johnson, and that's not a terrible strategy for Boston here.
No, not at all. You can't let him play you the way he did in game one.
Josh Johnson gets beat out again as soon as he touches the ball, even though it means being on the other side of the pitch. So now Steve Belitsky's behind the play, but he doesn't make the block. So that's going to be bludger control back Johnson does get back into the play, gets it to Galtelli. Galtelli gets on the board. We're not up at 1.
Yeah, Aaron McCready runs out to stop Josh Johnson, but Galtelli in position to receive the pass and score. Boston has to do a little more to take away the passing options of Johnson, too.
Tara Crawford now has the ball on the right side. We saw him ball carrying some on this line in the San Antonio series to questionable effect, though. He did have 2 beautiful dimes in the last game. This time he does get it across to Skura. Manhart now has it up top. McGargan. It's 3 across the top here from Boston, but nobody playing behind until Tara Crawford gets back in the play. So it seems like we're not going to have much interaction. Bludger control is with Austin. Casey Irwin is just stiff-arming Aaron McCready here. Oh, Ian Skura gets pretty close to the near hoop, but a nice play there by Galtelli doing just enough to force him away and keep that shot out.
Yeah, and Austin, we'll see what the ref discussion is about, but it seems like Austin is settling in to their defense with bludger control, where they have 1 chaser on each hoop, keeper Augustine Monroe hugging the keeper zone line. This is a very difficult defense to break down. Boston had no answers in game 1.
But remember, I mean, this early game has not been Boston's bread and butter. It's been Austin's bread and butter. So if Boston can hang here, I think it's a sign of good things, especially before Havlin and Shu enter the game. Passes over to Galtelli, back to Johnson. Johnson, the 2 of them hooking up for the first goal of the game for Austin. It is still bludger control. We'll see how they choose to attack Steve Blitzky, the only player with a bludger. Kaiser Polson's going to sink all the way back behind the hoops. Nobody pressuring Taylor Crawford so he can step out further. And that was a little lazy from Josh Johnson. Finn McGargan coming down with this pick.
Yeah, tired legs maybe starting to play a role, and Boston is pressing.
And Josh Johnson just took it away again. Tired legs, he says, no thank you. Now he's going to try to take on Ian Skura. The 2 stars of these quaffle games wrapped up. Taylor Crawford's going to add his opinion in as well. And finally, I think Lewis Shu cleaned up the play.
Yeah, I think I spoke too soon. If Josh Johnson can make that play on defense and withstand tackles from Skura and Crawford at the same time.
And Polson just threw a ball off his teammate, which exceeded control. So unfortunate there for Austin. Boston is going to be able to get control for Havlin and Shu right off the bat here, and a chance to score and a chance to take a lead. Harry Greenhouse subbing into the game. Ian Skura is looking down at one of his fingers on his throwing hand, something we might have to keep an eye on here coming out of that last tackle on Johnson. Goes across to Andrew Steinberg. Steinberg hits the lane, puts across to Skura. Now the opening is there. Skura trying to get by Monroe, goes over to Greenhouse, but Kaiser pulls in, is in the way once again.
Yeah, and Galtelli is all over the loose ball. He will sub out now. Strong shift from Galtelli, one of the players from outside the state of Texas to come in and play big minutes for the Outlaws here.
We get a stoppage here, and Chris LeCompte's just going to talk things over with one of his ARs. But yeah, a quieter game to start here than we saw in game 1. Both teams kind of struggling to score, and like you said, it seems like a little bit of tired legs from that first line of Austin, who have just played so many minutes both today and this weekend.
Yeah, low scoring, 10-10 with 6 minutes and change gone by. I think Boston will be happy with holding Austin within striking distance. With the way game 1 played out and they had such an uphill mountain to climb, I'm sure they believe that if they can just play Austin close, maybe build a little bit of a cushion, knowing that they're at a disadvantage in the Seeker game, that they will be in position to take game 3.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the disadvantage in the Seeker game has been the story all weekend for Boston. Still no catches this weekend, only 3 on the season. And that's a tough hill to climb against a team as good as Austin. When Boston's been at its best, they've had great seeking, and they don't have it this season, particularly this weekend. Max Havlin steps up high, takes an exchange. Casey Irwin is going to get beat. No, yeah, she is. So bludger control will stay with Havlin and Shu. Now Max Havlin gets to press. This high press has bit Boston a few times, and Erin McBride almost makes them bite again. Oh, she hits that shot. What a shot by McBride. Now it's going the other way, though. Steinberg's going to hit the little mid-range runner. We're knotted up at 2. But that's been one issue that I think has been plaguing Boston when Shu and Havlin go to press, is that Boston's just been going over the top of it and scoring anyway.
Yeah, it's been textbook about how to break a press by going aggressively in the face of beaters flying at you only the best teams can do it, but it is such a backbreaker when you get scored on with a press opportunity.
Yeah, and Aaron McBride may be one of the best players when it comes to body control in the entire sport to absorb that contact and shoot what was at least a 10-yard shot into the top hoop. Really, really impressive stuff. Havlin and Shu keeping ball control against Tracy and Irwin. Now the exchange happens. It's won by Havlin, but again, too free. Garza to McBride. McBride, the volleyball. We saw the set last time. This is a bit more of a spike through the far hoop, and Austin takes the lead again.
Yeah, Erin McBride is just putting on a show with all the different ways that she can score the quaffle right now, whether it's moves from volleyball, whether it's the overhead soccer pass shot. She can do it all.
Yep. Ball control is still with Boston. They need a goal here to try to even things up again. 3-2. Finally, we've started seeing some scoring in the last few possessions. Ryan Fenning's just going to attack the far wing. Gets the ball back to Steinberg. Steinberg kicks it high. Loose ball. Greenhouse is going to get there off of Garza. Greenhouse pump fakes once. Pump fakes twice. Can't get it in there. It is a big stop out of Daniel Seelholm, who we've barely seen all weekend.
Yeah, Austin going to some of the pieces on its bench to provide some energy, players with some fresher legs. Daniel Seelholm, 20 years old, from the University of Texas, one of those guys.
Oh, but, there's pros and cons to going deep into your bench. One of the pros are the energy. The lows are, sometimes things don't go your way. Seelholm just overthrows Aaron McBride on a basic pass, and now it's going to be no bludgers going the other way. Who do you want in a no-budget situation? You want Ryan Fenning. Fenning gets over the top to Steinberg. Steinberg can't handle it. It's going to be Athena Mayer who cleans it up. Sammy Garza does get beat out of the play. Actually doesn't because he's the keeper. But Seelholm, again with the defensive stop. And the ball is loose. Not sure who touched it last. Seelholm is finally going to have to go out of play. But two big defensive stops from Seelholm. Really nice to see from the young player.
Yeah, but good play from Harry Greenhouse to pick the quaffle back.
Now Andrew Steinberg's going to get another chance on the possession, but Josh Andrews shuts the door again. And one thing we've seen a few times from Steinberg is he gets his broom in between his legs early, and that really limits his mobility. He kind of gets in that hopping motion, becomes much easier to corral for a long player like Josh Andrews.
Yeah, he's such an explosive player, and so as he matures as a chaser off ball, he's definitely going to learn how to use his body to his advantage.
Ryan Fenning looking for a big hit there on Missy Goddessy. Goddessy, though, bounces off of it well, finds Garza. Garza looking to hit the lane. Shu, though, is there. Garza was looking for Josh Andrews. Can't find him, and a beat was on its way anyway. Now it's going to be Andrew Steinberg looking to go end-to-end. Turns around Missy Goddessy once, hitting the lane. Doesn't have a passing option. Finally looks for Greenhouse. Greenhouse can't quite turn around to that one. And this entire game is looking a bit like that stitch-on-pitch period from Game 1.
Yeah, a little bit, and that's good news for Boston. That's what I said they would have wanted. We have a 30-20 game here as we pass the 10-minute mark. But I'm wondering if they're going to regret some of the points that they've left on the board as they were streaking down the field. Could have been an opportunity to score there. Yeah,
30-20 now the score for Austin. A bobbled ball there. It's going to be Nick Zoner coming into the game now. Another player we haven't seen yet in this final. Goddessy has the ball up top over to Garza. Zoner out of that RPI program that provides a lot of players to the Boston program as well. Garza now has it on the near side. As we mentioned, the team's one A&M product, but a very important product. And this time he was looking for Zoner, throws it outside of his realm of room. Serena Montero tracks it down. Ian Skura's going to have the ball going the other way. Can he make one block on Beavers? No, Beavers gets beat out of the play. Kieran Collier, a massive beat. Ian Skura end-to-end. We're not up at 3.
Yeah, Collier pumps his fist, motions to the crowd. Huge play to beat out Casey Beavers and create the open lane for Ian Skura. Tie game.
Yeah. And, bludger control continuing to stay with Boston. It's a very, very different game in that regard. But now Boston does need to start finding some defensive stops, and more importantly, because they've gotten the stops, it's some goals on the other end. Serena Montero, as much as needed, wins an exchange there with Polzin. Carson Olazaba looking for a tackle on Augie Monroe. As you said, both teams kind of going deep into their depth. A huge hit by Peter Lawrence and Nick Zoner. Carson Olazaba comes up with it. Bludgers are flying left and right. It's going to be another no bludger situation for Ian Skura. Ian Skura now trying to do his best Josh Johnson impression from Game 1. Goes right by Augustine Monroe. Puts it through. Same side of the field, making it look just as easy.
Yeah, Boston getting hot here with Ian Skura in the game, running behind Collier and Montero. This is a very good shift from the Boston Forge.
Yeah, game one, it was Josh Johnson strongly outscoring Ian Skura. And this game, Josh Johnson has gone scoreless, but Ian Skura now has 2. Augie Monroe now bringing it down. Does seem like Austin got a lot of rest for their first line that has sat a lot. I think we will see a nice long stretch out of Monroe and probably Johnson as well. As importantly, Kaiser Polson finally wins an exchange and gets bludger control and a no bludger situation. What can McBride do with it? She looks for Josh Andrews. Pierre Lawrence is considering whether to step out. Finally does. Goes across to Augustine Monroe. Ian Skura had to step up. Shot goes low. Skura's going to chase down his own rebound. That's enough time, though, for Serena Montero to get back into the play. Montero goes all the way out to Augustine Monroe, forcing Josh Andrews to beat them, and he can't there. Shot goes low again, and it's going to be Carson Olazaba falling down on it. I think we might have to have a conversation about whether Andrews' shot went in.
Yeah, I think that's what the refs are talking about, and there is some signs of life from Austin offensively. They've been struggling to move the ball and get a goal, but I think we're going to have this one signaled good.
Yeah, and Erin McBride a little slow to get up there as well. We understand how important she is to this team. The goal has been called good. It looks like the scoreboard's been flipped. We're not up at 4. McBride, unclear if she's going to stay on the field or not. Monroe having a conversation with her, head coach of the team.
McBride's a player who's not taken the rest that some of the other players on the field have taken. She's just running for days here.
Yeah, you know, the way their roster is kind of positioned right now, they don't have the option to give her rest, and she continues to perform on both ends of the ball. Obviously, one of the advantages of the hoop zone is you're expending a little less energy on the defensive side, but no shortage of energy on the offensive side, and she does have 2 goals already in this one.
Yeah, Casey Beavers is going to check into the game at Chaser in place of McBride. Beavers switching back and forth between beater and chaser this season and doing it very impressively.
Yeah, true utility player in the college game for DA and as well as for the Outlaws. Really a great resource to have when you're struggling with roster management issues this late on.
Yeah, it's truly a privilege to have a player like Casey Beavers who can fill any slot that you need from her, a national champion.
Speaking of utility and roster management, Casey Irwin is currently warming up with a quaffle on the sidelines.
Oh, all season playing beater, but what a story it would be if she comes in at Chaser.
Hey, she earned Team USA status as a Chaser. Yeah. It's not like she can't do it.
Right.
Chris LeCompte having none of the commotion from the crowd. Peter Lawrence is headed to the box. Oh, sorry, it's an injury. Peter Lawrence is going to have to sub out. He's walking in the direction of the box, though, in my defense.
It's going to be Finn McGargan subbing into the game. Both bludgers for Austin back.
Yeah. Nice shift there early in the game from McGargan. Going to need to do more of it here. Oh, man, but the press is relentless from Polson and Wang. Augie Monroe has the ball. Monroe, though, wrapped by Olazaba and McGargan, finds Missy Goddessy, though, and Goddessy puts it through. Austin has, I think, its first lead of the game.
Yeah, what a nice play by Missy Goddessy to catch the quaffle and poke it behind her head. Nice hoop awareness from Goddessy.
Ian Skura now trying to go the other way, but the place we found this game a lot is Ian Skura standing in front of that hoop zone with nowhere to go, and Finn McGargan tries the shot that Ian Skura was never going to take and gets the same result.
Yeah, just stuffed for Austin, and luckily they're stopping the fast break opportunity here, and Collier and Montero are getting back, although they will sub out now.
Yeah, it's a huge play for Carson Olazaba because it gave his beaters time to – there was basically an exchange for bludger control, and if they had to take it as the quaffle game was coming, probably would have been a good scoring opportunity for Austin. Instead, they have time to collect bludger control without having to worry about that. And we get a timeout from Austin. And, it could be a strategic timeout, but one could argue it's also a keep those legs fresh timeout.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because strategically, I think Austin is settling into what they wanted to do. You mentioned Ian Skura looking for options when dancing at the keeper zone line and seeing only Austin Outlaws chasers camped out on the hoops. This is going to be an interesting scene here. Can Skura figure out what to do against the hoop defense? Can Boston find some answers?
Yeah, and we've seen, as we mentioned in Game 1, we've seen the players of this Austin roster win a lot of different championships in a lot of different ways. I would argue that if they win this one, it would be one of the grittiest wins we've ever seen from this group of players. This is a team who, spent a lot of games, I think, not as heavy favorites, spent a lot of games where they had the lower energy, where they had the shorter numbers, and they have kept finding ways to get leads and to get wins. But I think the number one factor in this game, as we tick towards the 20-minute mark here, still got about 5 minutes to go before then, is the fact that if this snitch on pitch period goes as long as it did in Game 1, I think Boston is heavily favored in that regard because these Austin legs cannot handle what that's going to look like. But if Josh Andrews can deliver a catch, and it seems like that's the only place a catch might be coming from in this series, might be able to seal up the win. I can tell you one thing Austin doesn't want, and it's a Game 3.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot. This is way back in the day, but I've been thinking a lot about World Cup 7 and 8 when Texas had shorter rosters, didn't necessarily come in as the favorites, but still came out on top. Augie Monroe was there, Aryan Goddessy was there, Casey Irwin was there, and they're doing it again here with the Austin Outlaws this weekend.
Yeah, of course, taking down Lone Star in that very hotly contested final, one of the most famous games of all time. Of course, Billy Quach has a lot to say about why that's one of the most famous games of all time. Ball goes back behind here to Casey Beavers, who gets all the way up top to Sammy Garza. Patience here. It is ball control with the combination of Will Andrews and Noyes Ausra. And it's a loose ball, and Ian Skura is going to be there first. It is bludger control moved over to Austin, but at the cost of the quaffle, a trade that, to be fair, Austin might take at this point. Ian Skura is getting pressed high by Kaiser Polson, and Sammy Garza takes the quaffle back. A huge play there by Kaiser Polson, who just absolutely dominates the combo of Andrews and Ausra there.
Yeah, and with Irwin warming up to come into the quaffle game potentially, the Austin Outlaws are going to need every bit of what Kaiser Polson can provide in the beater game. Sammy Garza getting the goal on the other end.
Taylor Tracy in the game alongside him. They now do have bludger control. And, we've seen Boston do some really good things with possessions at time. This line seems to be a little overwhelmed against some of these presses. As that one's going to go all the way back to Tara Crawford. Crawford airs up shot high. I think it was more of a pass, to be honest. Ian Skura comes up with it. Rachel Manhart's going to have a ton of space to go to and chooses not to. And, that is part of the issue we've seen from Boston. They don't want to fill in that space. And it's a snipe beat out of Taylor Tracy. But just going back to that moment, Rachel Manhart had the whole field in front of her. She had 3 people at the hoop. She had no beaters. And she had Finn McGargan as a passing option.
Yeah, definitely
Yep.
could have.
And it's going to be getting started again here with Josh Andrews looking to throw a home run ball to Sammy Garza. It is complete. And just like that, Austin out of their timeout is up 3. Things getting dicey once again for Boston. And it's that short shift there that is now going to be ended for Ausra and Andrews. They got bodied in the beater game. Havlin coming down the field, doesn't have control. Havlin and Shu on their second shift of the game. Ian Skura gets into the lane, but again, this defense just collapses on him. So it goes back up to Manhart.
Yeah, and the hands are going up to deny the shots from Skura, from Manhart. The Austin Outlaws defense is locked in right now.
Yep. We're just waiting on a call here. I think it came from one of the ARs. Might even just be a hoop situation. Helpful when one of your ARs is also the creator of the hoops, which have done a great job. The work Matt Melton has done, I think, in the hoop game has been a real game changer in the sport.
Yeah, Melton, a longtime fixture in the community out in the Great Lakes, has done so much as an official, as a provider of equipment. Love to see him getting recognition on the stream.
Yep. Shooty Hoops' his company, and they've been doing awesome work. So there's a blue card being handed out. It's going to be going to Aaron McBride. Illegal swat is literally the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that must be it.
So power play opportunity, something Boston desperately needs as Austin's gone on a little mini run out of this timeout and stretched the lead to 3. A illegal hoop interaction is going to be the call on Aaron McBride. Taylor Tracy takes Lewis Shue out of the play immediately. Kaiser Polson still in the defense. Ian Skura looking for the near hoop, and then Andrew Steinberg tries it back, but man, if that's 2 misses, yep, it's going to be called no good. 2 big misses there out of the Boston pair.
The call no good. Steinberg was in great position to receive the rebounds, but the refs called no good on the shot.
Taylor Tracy tried to run a really early 1.5, but now it's going to be a no bludger situation. But Beaver's kind of alone with it. She gets over to Andrews. Andrews going to try to take on Andrew Steinberg. A misbeat there by Tracy. That's going to be a costly one. Max Havlin's now going to get to press from behind, and a huge play there. Max Havlin made the most out of the fact that the numbers change that happened because Aaron McBride served that 30-second blue card, able to get bludger control back for his team and the quaffle.
Yeah, we're seeing bludger control going back and forth. We're seeing long-range beats from both teams. Taylor Tracy a moment ago, now Havlin taking out Garza.
Yep. Andrew Steinberg with the ball on the far side. Gets it all the way across to Ian Skura. Skura is now in the lane. Sammy Garza sitting low. Ian Skura goes to the far hoop. Ian Skura just slips it by Casey Beavers. Josh Johnson's been getting it by hoop zones all day, and Skura's returning the favor. A hat trick for him, and the lead is cut to 2.
And that's what Skura is going to need to do against this hoop zone defense. He was figuring it out when the New York Titans threw the look against him in the series a couple weeks ago in Boston. He needs to drive, and he needs to get to the hoops because he can finish around some of these smaller hoop defenders.
Yep. 2-goal lead. Starters back in the game here for Austin, at least in the beater game. But Max Havlin is really starting to dominate in the beater game. Sorry, I meant in the chaser game. Pass goes across to McBride, and there's just another Max Havlin beat waiting. Play is happening way off pitch. There's all the bludgers behind, but Kaiser Polson is streaming down the field. Pass goes high to Greenhouse, and Polson from behind the play, I think, left Ryan Fenning seeing shadows, and the pass goes awry. Huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, hearing footsteps, seeing shadows for sure. Boston not able to convert the transition opportunity, even though Havlin and Shue had gained bludger control all the way behind the hoops. A great recovery from Polson, who has just been everywhere on the pitch, showing his athleticism all weekend long.
Yep. Bludger control is with Havlin and Shue. Second time this championship series we're seeing Cameron Ogilvie. Only played in the stitch on pitch period yesterday, but again, some of those fresher legs in the beater game for Austin. Beats out Athena Mayer. Harry Greenhouse sitting up top at point, has the green headband, can't be beat. Right now, it's a little bit indecisive from Austin. They don't seem that interested to do anything in any direction. They do send the ball back to Monroe. Athena Mayer steps out to him. So just more patience here. Havlin and Shue going to stay right under the hoops. Now they're finally going to step out. They kind of stepped out of position. Havlin, though, is able to keep control. Ogilvie has to chase down the one bludger, so Havlin's going to get rid of Josh Johnson. McBride gets it over to Augustine Monroe. This is that classic ball possession we're so used to seeing from this core, using every inch of the offensive zone. But I think Chris LeCompte has just about had enough of it, using a stall warning here. So Josh Johnson's going to need to start looking for opportunities to score. Greenhouse steps high. Again, still can't be beat in his keeper zone. Johnson hits the lane, finds Augustine Monroe. Monroe fakes Andrew Steinberg out. A no-look two-handed shot into the near hoop.
So crafty from the veteran, Augie Monroe. Austin up 3 goals heading into snitch on pitch. This is more than enough of a cushion for a team with the type of seeking game that Austin brings. Of course, did struggle in the semifinal series to catch snitches, but we'll see what they can do in Game 3. The snitch, it looks like, is going to be Justin Barnard, so that is a tall order for any team.
Yeah, Barnard, correct me if I'm wrong, the club final snitch in the USQ championship. If I'm right, and I could be wrong, Josh Andrews was not able to catch in that game, even while given plenty of time. So something to think about as we move forward here. But, 30 points, it's a nice cushion. It's not the cushion they had in game one, and Boston closed fully on that. So we'll see how this plays out. You have to like Boston's fresh legs, but it feels like the more this qualifier game has been challenged to play true half-court offense, the more it's struggled, and really just not a lot of goals in either game so far in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, what I'm going to be watching is what Austin does with its beaters. Do they even give Boston the opportunity to run in transition, or do they pull back and keep the game slow, keep the game as it's been played for 20 minutes now?
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see here, when Ian Skur comes back in, if Fenning can kind of clean things up. Everybody walking back onto the field. We got part of our Josh Andrews answer already. He will not be starting in the Seeker game.
Yeah, it is Swathi Munham for the Austin Outlaws. Greg Bento, it looks like, for the Boston Forge.
Yeah, and then, of course, the other question is always where here Greenhouse is going to play. Obviously, starting the game in the Quaffle game, but with how long stitch-on-pitch play went last time, there's plenty of time for both. Max Havlin, though, makes a mistake right off the bat and does lose bludger control. Cameron Ogilvie now looking to press. Cameron Ogilvie and Taylor Tracy all making mistakes as well. No bludger situation. Ryan Fenning gets it to go.
Yeah,
much needed for Boston.
Takes the big hit from Josh Andrews for his troubles, but he's okay with the goal. 80-60 now.
Yeah. Greg Bento is trying to get by Swathi here, but not getting any beater help. I expect that Havlin and Shu, with only the one bludger, are going to keep in the Quaffle game. I think this game is going to end up looking a lot more like the first 20 minutes than game one did.
Yeah, I think Austin is going to make sure of that here. It's going to be a tough order for Boston to get back into this game.
Monroe patient here. Gets down the left side, making a hard drive, bounces off Athena Mayer, scores immediately. 90-60 here.
Yeah, Monroe looking very good in the half court, getting around the Boston defenders and finishing at the hoops. Augustine Monroe, can he get his team across the finish line?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how Boston plays this out. Greg Bento tries a quick behind the back grab, not able to quite get it. Getting plenty of time here though on offense. Bludger control did move back to Havlin and Shu, and Shu is going to clear out the defensive seeker again. Pass across to Athena Mayer. Mayer back behind to Harry Greenhouse. Greenhouse recovers. Greenhouse tries a shot, bounces it low. Augustine Monroe recovers.
Yeah, right into the arms of Augie Monroe. Peter Lawrence was lurking, but they were just not able to get into position in time to retrieve the rebound. Austin looking to go up 40 points now.
Yeah, and I love Austin's choice to say, hey, Boston, we know the weakest part of your game all season has been seeking. We dare you to catch this snitch.
Yeah, certainly makes Boston's life more difficult.
Augustine Monroe driving in. A no-look pass to Gaddazi, but a big play there by Fenning. Fenning's going to go end-to-end, absorbs the contact from JJ, absorbs Casey Irwin's attention as well, which allows Greenhouse to finish 9-7 now the score.
Yeah, really nice play by Ryan Fenning to draw the contact from Josh Johnson, to draw the attention of Casey Irwin, and then put the pass right into the path of Greenhouse for the goal. It is 90-70 Boston. Boston has narrowed the lead to 20 points.
Yeah, 2-1 so far here in the snitch on pitch play in favor of Boston. But again, Austin can exchange goals. There's no harm in that. Boston either needs to find a snitch grab or actually start to find wins in the Quaffle game. Lengthy discussion here from our refs. Goal's good. No call on the play. Monroe is getting a bit of a talking to from Crystal Comp. He is the head coach of the team, though, as well, so it could just be explaining the call.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to understand exactly what happened on the play from head ref Chris Lecomte. We'll get going here soon.
Loose ball is just going to be dropped onto the ground here because Augie Monroe was off broom. Maybe that's what they were discussing about here. Might have just been a back-to-hoops call on Monroe for the contact. Unclear, but either way, Jack Wang now in the game for Austin. He's got some fresh legs, hasn't played a ton down the stretch of this one, so we'll see what he can provide against the bludger control of Havlin and Shu. Greg Bento is getting plenty of time. We'll see when he takes his first sub. And who else on Boston might be able to get the grab that they need. Augie Monroe brings it around behind. Harry Greenhouse trying to mark him. Two absolute veterans of the sport who have played together and against each other so many times. Jack Wang tries to beat, but Harry Greenhouse is in his keeper zone. Max Havlin fails a beat on Jack Wang. That's going to create a brief no bludger situation. Max Havlin, I think, is going to be able to chase down bludger control. He will, but can Austin do anything offensively in the meantime? Not to be so far. Max Havlin's going to be coming in the back of Josh Johnson, takes care of a defensive beater while he's there, wins an exchange with Casey Irwin. This is just Max Havlin being Max Havlin. And Lewis Shu, I thought that definitely hit Arian Gassi. No call on the play. Gadasi hits the floater. Huge turnaround there, and the Boston press once again proves too aggressive.
Wow, with the beaters out of the play, Gadasi just hits the lane and drains the shot, even after the big tackle from Ryan Fenning.
Yeah, extended no bludger situation, but Athena Mayer's pass just gets knocked down.
Oh. And it's Carson Olazaba with a potential catch.
Oh my God, what a huge play this would be from the young RPI product. A player who started as a beater, who moved to chaser, and who Boston said, let's throw into the seeking game. This catch could potentially even us up at 10.
Oh my goodness, Carson Olazaba had just checked into the game, got one look that I caught that seemed close. I almost said something, and then I looked away and he had the snitch sock in hand.
The catch is good. We are all knotted up here in game 2.
Oh, wow, and this is a breath of life for Boston. They have a chance now with the set score at 140.
Game is 105-100. It's going to be 1-4 here in game 2. 4 goals for Austin means a championship. 4 goals for Boston means a game 3. It was a failed offensive opportunity, kind of a wasted one there from Boston. So Austin will start with the ball, and I think a potential no bludger situation. Coming the other way is, I believe that was Monroe finding Josh Andrews, and Josh Andrews puts it down with authority. Immediately, Austin closes it to 3 more goals to win.
Yeah, and Austin not likely to be phased by a snitch cap.
Oh, and Max Havlin just jumps over Casey Irwin's beat and says, that is my bludger, thank you very much. It's going to create a no bludger situation, too, if Ian Skurr can recognize it. Ian Skurr's not recognizing it, though. Patience here from Skurr against a no bludger. Finally, just gets over to Greenhouse. 1-3 here in game 2.
Greenhouse sinks the shot. We have quite a game here.
Yeah, 115, 110. 1-140 here in game 2. Josh Johnson now back on the field. Ian Skurr and Josh Johnson are 2 players I do not think you will see off this pitch until the game is settled. And we do, however, see a beater game switch for Boston. Serena Montero and Kieran Collier are in the game. Collier wins an exchange. Collier sets up Josh Andrews, but Josh Johnson puts through the shot. It is now 2 more to win for Austin. They have to take that shot away from Josh Johnson. Going the other way, it's no bludgers. Ian Skurr absorbs contact, gets over to Harry Greenhouse. Greenhouse over to Mayer. Mayer controls so well, puts it through the middle hoop. 1-2 here in game 2.
Play by Boston in transition. I apologize if we're having some technical difficulties here, if I'm cutting in and out, trying to get them resolved. But what a play from Boston.
Yeah, and what a game this is. I don't think we're getting a call on the play. So bringing it down now. Game is knotted up at 12. 1-2 goals. Austin can smell this championship, but if they're not the first 1-2, they have to play an entire another game of Quidditch. Garza has the ball. Collier and Montero were able to keep bludger control in the last possession, but there was no answer for the shot of Josh Johnson. Polson does take an exchange with Collier. It's a pass all the way back behind. Collier presses that one hard, gets the beat. That is the stop Boston needed to turn things around. Here comes Ian Skurr in transition. 1 bludger is in the middle of the play. Montero is exchanging with Irwin here. Finally, I think Boston's going to have to settle it down and play a half-court offense. Skurr and Greenhouse, they're 2 most consistent quaffle players, both in the game together here.
Yeah, a chance to take the lead now for Boston.
Yep. Oh, and it's going to be a loss of bludger control. Ian Skurr gets it behind McGargan, though. McGargan, he wants to shoot. not in time, beat before. It's a race to the ball. Can Athena Mayer get there first? It's loose, and Sammy Garza's going to fall on it. But then he takes a huge hit from Harry Greenhouse, and the ball's going to go back to Boston.
Wow, such incredible plays from Boston here. The veterans coming up with control of the quaffle in loose ball situations.
Yep, and now it is a Boston ball again. They have a chance to cut it to game point here. But it is against bludger control. We've seen how dominant Austin's defense has been with bludger control. Can they find an answer? Does Ian Skura or Harry Greenhouse or Athena Mayer have a little more magic to work here in game 2? Serena Montero wants the pass behind. I think she's going to engage with any beater that comes that way. Not to be, oh no, the pass is knocked down by Garza. Athena Mayer is just able to swat it out to keep possession. Huge play there by Mayer. Still, though, bludger control sits comfortably under the Austin hoops, and it's so tough to break down this hoop zone against bludger control. Harry Greenhouse forces it out. Did that one go? No. Aaron McBride's able to knock it down. It's another stop here, but bludger control does go the way of Montero and Collier. Or no, does it? Because Kaiser Polson runs the race. Meanwhile, Josh Johnson tries a pass to Garza, and Boston is living on the edge of its seats right now. Skura knocking down the pass.
What a play by Ian Skura to jump into the passing lane and intercept the pass. When there's chaos in the beating game, you need your chasers to be aware.
Oh, and Skura couldn't get that shot to go. I thought for sure it was headed in.
Skura thinks he scored, or he's just checking on Aaron McBride. He's been close a couple times now with the floaters.
Yeah. Incredible back and forth play. We are at the edge of our seats. The entire Troy Park facility is on the edge of its seat here. Bludger control did go back to Austin somewhere in that scrum. Taylor Tracy looking to make a beat on Montero. Montero might have thrown that ball too far back. It's going to be an extended no bludger situation. Garza behind to Monroe. Monroe eats the tackle, puts it through. It is championship point for Austin.
Yeah, and Monroe, so calm, so cool, so collected with the quaffle, just gliding through the Boston defense behind his beaters with control and putting his team within one goal of a back-to-back championship.
And the question now is, first of all, can Boston score? But can Boston get bludger control? Because Austin feels like when they have bludger control, they can always at least open up a scoring opportunity. Serena Montero this time is going to usher in Carson Olazabu back in the quaffle game after making that snitch grab that gave Boston life. Airs a pass over the head of Athena Mayer. It's just going to be reset used. Sammy Garza does come way out to handle it, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Boston's going to need to be careful here, though. Taylor Tracy presses high, but Serena Montero wasn't there yet to interact with him. So it's going to be a safe press, and then I'm sure Austin's about to sit back into their hoops zone.
Yeah, Boston needs the goal here. A turnover could be the end of the game, so need to protect the quaffle as well.
Mayer bringing down the side, fakes once a pass to Olazaba, gets in the lane, gets over to Skura, trying to move that point defender around to no avail, but Skura finally just hits the lane. Did he get that one to go? No, it was taken away. Oh, but Carson Olazaba steals the ball right back.
Wow.
Taylor Crawford's in the play. He gets beat. Bludgers are flying left and right. Olazaba's going to come up with it. Is that going to be bludger control? No. Olazaba finally just forced to reset it. It was such an effort play from Olazaba, who's in a weird way been the MVP of this game for Boston.
Yeah, making effort plays in all facets of the game. Now needs to come up with a stop on defense.
Yeah, but now it is game point. It is championship point for Austin. Aaron McBride with the ball on the near side. Mayer meets her. Goes to Garza. Garza's got a lot of field in front of him. Kieran Collier, the only bludger in the defense for Boston. Josh Johnson, we know what he can do with a shot. He's thinking about it here. Taylor Crawford takes the extra step out on him. That just frees up Garza. Garza looking for the shot. Garza looking for the championship. Augie Monroe, one more title for him. The Austin Outlaws once again sit on top of MLQ. They make it back-to-back. They are the first team to 4. It is Outlaw country once again in Troy Park.
Oh, and well-deserved for the Austin Outlaws. An undefeated regular season followed by a 3-game series against the Washington Admirals, a 3-game series against the New York Titans, and now they sweep the Boston Forge in the finals.
You can't say that Austin didn't earn every part of this because the bracket broke down to being an absolute gauntlet for the Outlaws. Washington was by far the best team coming out of the play-in bracket, may have been a top 4 team in the entire tournament. They take them on the quarterfinals, have to play deep into the night to a Game 3. Then they come out this morning, and New York takes Game 2 from them and pushes them basically to the same scenario we saw in this game, first to 2 wins, and Austin's able to survive that in Game 3. And then to find enough in the tank, enough from their bench. We saw so many players, the likes of a Nick Zoner coming out into that game towards the end, and making those kind of difference plays. Of course, though, when it came down to it, the performances of your stars, and in a game where Josh Johnson maybe looked like he finally had just hit a bit of a wall energy-wise, which fair enough, Augie Monroe, the GOAT of the sport, comes through, 4 goals, including the game winner.
Yeah, it's an incredible performance from Augie Monroe in a long line of incredible performances at the highest stage of the sport, just getting his team across the finish line. I don't know if they could have played a Game 3 against Boston, a third Game 3 of the weekend, but they were up to the task here in Game 2.
Yeah. Well, that is going to do it for another MLQ Championships. You can stay tuned. I'm not 100% sure if we will be broadcasting the award ceremonies, but if we were, it'll be coming back. Otherwise, we're going to be signing off here from Troy Park. An incredible tournament. A lot of really, really fun games down the stretch of this tournament. I want to thank everybody for watching us this week. For Jack McGovern, Noah Schwartz, Ben Mertens, Julia Rankin, and Juan Martinez, all of whom did a lot of announcing for us this weekend. Harry Clark, Juan Martinez also on the producing side, and Nick Jablonski, one of our digital media directors who's been overseeing the entire product. We're so glad that we've been able to bring a product like this to you. And, we always really enjoy our time here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for an entire season of following along. And we will see you back in 2023 for what I'm sure is going to be another great MLQ season. For myself and Jack, signing off. Take care.